This is the sixth in a series of videos aimed at helping guitar players understand how to read music. In earlier videos, we covered guitar notes in treble clef, rhythms, and time signatures. In this lesson, we're going to look at different types of repeats. This is a forward repeat, and this is a backward repeat. Each repeat has a double bar line. The forward repeat has 2 dots on the right, and the backward repeat has 2 dots on the left. Anytime you run across a backward repeat sign, you jump back to the nearest forward repeat sign. So in this example, you would play until that backward repeat sign, then you jump back to the forward repeat sign, play that section again, and then continue playing through the end of the music. Whatever's inside a repeated section, you're going to play the music a total of twice, and then you're going to keep going. And it doesn't matter if the forward repeat sign is on the same line, the line above, or even on a previous page. You're going to play the music inside that repeated section twice. You can have multiple repeats in the same song, but the rules are pretty simple. You're always going to jump back to the nearest forward repeat. In this example, we have 2 repeated sections, one at the beginning and one at the end. So if you were playing this, you would play those first 2 measures twice because they're inside a forward and backward repeat. The middle 2 measures, there is no little repeat sandwich there, so you would only play those measures just the one time. And then at the end, we have another repeated section, so you would play those 2 measures twice. If there's a backward repeat but no forward repeat, then you're going to jump back to the very beginning of the music. Not the beginning of the line, but the beginning of the entire song. Here we've got Silent Night. There's a 4-measure section in the middle that repeats. So looking at the beginning, now beginning of the next line, and then we're at a repeat sign, we go back to that forward repeat. And then you would go through the rest of the song. And in this song, RLE, we have a backward repeat at the end of the first line, but we don't have a forward repeat, so when we hit that repeat, we're going to go back to the beginning of the music. There's our repeat. There's no forward repeat, so we go to the beginning. And then you play through the rest of the song. Watch out for first and second endings. This is a first ending, and this is a second ending. When you have endings, you repeat as normal. The second time through, though, you're going to skip over whatever is under the first ending bracket and jump right to the second ending. So in this example, we play through. Now we're at the first ending. There's a repeat, so we go back. Now right here, it's our second time through, so we skip the first ending and go to the second ending instead. A first ending can be more than one measure. In fact, a first ending could be an entire line or 2 of music, but the rule's always the same. You repeat the music, but the second time through, you skip the first ending and go to the second ending. Now we're under the first ending here, which is 2 measures. Now we go back to the beginning because there's no forward repeat. And now we jump to the second ending. This is a single measure repeat. When you see one of these, you play whatever you played the measure before. And then you play it again. You'll see that single measure repeat in repetitive parts. Let's say you're playing some nightmare version of Hot Cross Buns. It might look like this. And play it again. Play it again. And this is a 2-measure repeat. It works like a single measure repeat, except you repeat the last 2 measures you played. Play those same 2 measures again. And again. The last type of repeat we're going to look at is roadmap type repeats. That includes DC, DS, and Codas. A DC marking takes you back to the very beginning of the music. It doesn't matter if the beginning of the music is at the top of the same page or if it's 5 pages earlier, the DC takes you back to the very beginning. When you reach a DC marking, it's either going to say DC al fine or DC al coda. The fine is going to be somewhere in the middle of the music, and that is how you pronounce that. That's an Italian word for the end. When the marking says DC al fine, you're going to jump back to the beginning and then end at the fine bar. The DC al coda marking involves a little bit more skipping around. When you reach the DC al coda, you still jump back to the beginning, and then you're going to look for the coda sign. Sometimes it'll just say coda, and sometimes it'll have this coda symbol. Once you reach the coda sign, then you jump to the coda, which is going to be at the end of the music. The DS marking is similar to the DC marking, except that instead of jumping back to the very beginning, you're going to jump back to this funny-looking S sign that most musicians just call the sign. Other than that, it works the same. If it's a DS al fine, you're going to jump back to the sign, and then you're going to stop wherever the fine bar is. And if it's a DS al coda, you're going to jump back to the sign, then play to the coda sign, and then jump to the coda at the end. To recap all that, DC takes you back to the beginning, the DS takes you back to the sign, the fine is going to be somewhere in the middle of the music, and the coda is going to be at the end. And that was your introduction to repeat signs and road maps. The next video will probably be the last in the series, but you never know. That one's going to cover some things like dynamics, articulations, multi-measure rests, and holds. If you're interested in learning how to read music, or you just need some extra practice, you might want to check out my guitar books. I'll leave a link in the description. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more guitar tips.